start it off, I'd like to introduce Dr. Materi.
Morning, everybody. Morning. All right, here we go. It's great to see you bright and early on a Friday morning. We have a very special assembly this morning. We're here today to recognize our distinguished Alumni Award recipients and also to announce the senior class Alumni Award winners. The Distinguished Alumni Awards were established in 1990 by the Alumni Association to honor outstanding alumni and non-alumni friends for their service to the school and the community. I would like to take a moment to recognize the 2015 Distinguished Alumni Award recipients. Each of our recipients will be honored at a special program tonight. Our distinguished honorary alumnus is Mr. Gene Worland. Mr. Worland, will you please stand and be recognized? When someone mentions Mr. Worland's name, what I say is Mr. Worland has the patience of a saint. He really, really does. Perhaps more than any other Kinkaid volunteer, Mr. Worland has helped to shape the Kinkaid campus you see today. He's been a trustee for 22 years, and he's chaired the building committee since 1997, almost 20 years chairing the building committee. During that time, the building committee has overseen approximately $70 million in major building projects on the Kinkaid campus, including this beautiful Performing Arts Center. He was instrumental in the school's acquisition of the Milby property and with the school's negotiations with our Still Forest neighbors regarding the development of Milby property. His volunteer commitments extend beyond Kinkaid to other fine organizations, including the Museum of Natural Science and the Children's Assessment Center. In his spare time, he's the president of WPW Management Corporation, a local commercial real estate company. He's a graduate of the University of Texas with a Bachelor of Science in Architectural Studies. He and his wife have 3 Kinkaid graduates as children: Amy, class of '92, David, class of '96, Maudie, 2004, granddaughter in 1st grade, and a grandson who will enter pre-K in the fall. Again, congratulations, Mr. Worland. This year's distinguished alumna is Mrs. Ann Lentz from the class of 1967. Unfortunately, Ms. Lentz is feeling under the weather. She's not here with us this morning. Hopefully, she will be here for tonight's program. I just want to tell you a little bit about her. Ms. Lentz entered Kinkaid in the 4th grade and graduated in 1967. While she was here, she participated in student council, basketball, drama, yearbook, and was on the homecoming court. She earned a BA with honors from Wellesley and graduated from the University of Texas School of Law. She practiced law with Vincent and Elkins from 1974 to 1990, where she was the 2nd woman partner and the 1st in trial. Since leaving her law practice, she has focused on children's and environmental issues through community organizations, founder and co-chair of the Quality of Life Coalition. In 2008, she retired as president and CEO of the Center for Houston's Future, a not-for-profit policy planning organization. She's currently president of the board of Texas Children's Hospital and a member of the Houston Parks Board, the University of Texas Law School Foundation, and the State Parks Advisory Committee. She's an extremely accomplished woman. We look forward to honoring her tonight. Let's give her a round of applause and thank you. Our 2015 Distinguished Young Alumnus is David Hornsby from the class of 1994. Mr. Hornsby, will you please stand to be recognized? He is a very accomplished and well-known actor, screenwriter, and producer. In just a few moments, you will hear more about him and his career from Mr. Lambert. I'm now pleased to introduce Mr. Adam Altzuler, a member of our Alumni Board, who's here to present the Senior Class Alumni Awards. Mr. Altzuler graduated from Kinkaid as a lifer in 1992. He earned a bachelor's degree in finance from the University of Texas at Austin, and also holds an MBA from Rice University. Mr. Altshuler currently serves as the CFO of USD Partners LP, a midstream master limited partnership headquartered in downtown Houston. He and his wife Jody have 2 sons, Chase, who's currently in kindergarten, and Reed, who will enter kindergarten in the fall. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Altshuler to the podium.
Thank you, Dr. Martieri. Since 1992, the Alumni Association has awarded 2 gifts of $500 in cash to an outstanding senior boy and outstanding senior girl who best represent dedication to Kinkaid through academic, extracurricular, and volunteer activities. And actually, we just learned that one of our distinguished alumni won this award when he was an outstanding senior boy in the senior class as well. So, each year, our job gets more difficult as we have so many outstanding nominees. I would like to thank all the seniors and our incredible faculty for your time and interest in nominating candidates this year. I'm pleased to represent the Alumni Board in announcing the winners from the class of 2015. Please come forward to accept your award after I call your name. Our Alumni Association Senior Girl Award recipient entered Kinkaid in kindergarten. She is known for being a hard worker, kind-hearted, and friendly. Admired by her classmates and teachers, she has a genuine love for learning and is always willing to help her classmates. She is a member of the Cum Laude Society, a peer mentor, and an admissions ambassador. As past chair of the Habitat for Humanity and president of Kinkaid's Community Service Council, she has been truly committed to community service and leaves behind a wonderful legacy. She embodies Kinkaid's 4 core values, and today we are pleased to honor her with a special recognition. Please join me in congratulating the 2015 Alumni Association Senior Girl Award recipient, Ashley Davis. Senior Boy Award recipient entered Kinkaid in the 6th grade and has distinguished himself as a scholar and a leader. A quiet leader, he is respected for his positive attitude and his compassion. He has an incredibly strong work ethic, arriving at school and the doors open at 7 a.m. every day to meet the teachers and prepare for the day. Near the top of his class, he earned membership in the Cum Laude Society and is a member of the Spanish Honor Society. He is most well known for his athletic prowess at Kinkaid, especially on the baseball field. He is a pitcher and a captain of the team. One of his coaches said, he's one of the finest pitchers I've coached and among the best ever at Kinkaid. I can kind of tell by your reaction that you may know who I'm describing. So I'll stop here. Please join me in congratulating the 2015 Alumni Association Senior Boy Award recipient, Will Gaus. Congratulations again to Ashley and Will. I would also like to take a minute and recognize our senior alumni board representatives who have helped the board stay informed of the latest happenings at the school. Sophie Gaylor and Horatio Kalin. Please stand up to be recognized. Thank you both for an outstanding year of service to the alumni board. I would now like to hand the program over to Scott Lambert, who will introduce our speaker today.
Well, good morning. It is an honor to talk about this student of mine. 25 years ago, David and I both started our first year at Kinkaid Upper School together. And he is an astounding young man. He was about this tall, I think, when he was a freshman. And I think part of his love of theater came from we were changing the program at that point, and so we started the competitive drama program, and I directed the first really ever ensemble show in the Black Theater that year, which was a 6-woman, all-women show, Steel Magnolias. And I needed some crew people for it, and so David and his buddy Will volunteered, or I may have made them do it, to be the 2 tech people for the show. And I really think David may have fallen in love with theater at that point, because he was backstage as the girls were changing all the time, and he just knew he was loving it. We did have a competitive drama program at that point, and the astounding thing that he did is, as a junior, he won the state tournament in both duet acting and humorous interpretation, went on to the national tournament and became the national champion in humorous interp that year, and then came back that junior year, and even though he hated me for it, I wouldn't let him do any humorous that year, and made him compete in dramatic, and then did the same thing basically the next year in dramatic. So he is an astounding young man, and I am proud to call him a friend. He is one of only 2 students that Mrs. Lambert and I invited to our wedding. So, really special. So, quickly, just about him, because then I have to hand it on. He is currently the executive producer of the long-running FX show, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Where he also, as you know, has a reoccurring role as Rickety Cricket. He is an accomplished actor, producer, and director. He wrote and starred in the CBS comedy How to Be a Gentleman, and he co-starred, voiced, and drew characters on the FX animated series Unsupervised. As an actor, his credits also include a season on 6 Feet Under, as well as numerous television guest starring appearances. He's also voiced several animated characters for Nickelodeon series, including the lead character in Fanboy and Chum Chum, which I heard running in my house all the time because Duncan was watching it at that point. Beyond his extensive theatrical work at Kinkaid, he was the senior class president, participated in the competitive drama program, and played volleyball. He majored in acting at my alma mater, Carnegie Mellon University, currently resides in Los Angeles with his wife, Emily Deschanel, the star of Bones, and his 3-year-old son, Henry. They are expecting their next child any minute, probably by the end of the week, hopefully not by the end of the assembly. It is my pleasure to introduce my friend, David Hornsby.
Thank you very much, Scott. That was, it sounds impressive when you said that. Wow. Well, it's so great to look across the room today and see so many young Republicans in you know, Kinkaid taught me to open with a bold opening sentence, so I did it. Well, first off, I'd like to thank Headmaster Martieri and the Alumni Organization for inviting me here today. You know, the Kinkaid Distinguished Alumni Award has been bestowed to many accomplished alums, doctors, lawyers, a fighter pilot. I play a priest turned homeless crack addict in a late-night cable show, so you guys may have got the off here, I'm not sure. It really is an honor to be invited back, and I remember obviously sitting in assembly myself and seeing speakers come through, and then they'd sit on chairs just like these, the exact same chairs. And so it's really great to be on the other side of it. The chairs are not as comfortable as I thought they'd be, but you would think the most distinguished person would get the most comfortable chair. That's not really the case, but maybe something like in The Voice where they announce your name, the chair turns, might be something, I don't know, something to think about. I also remember my parking space when I was here, when I pulled in, and I kind of wanted to pull into it today, but obviously someone was there. Did we not retire parking spaces for distinguished alum? Is that not something to think about, like a jersey we could retire? Kinkaid is an excellent school, and I feel honored to have gone here. I went here from 6th grade to 12th grade. Formative years, you know, here I learned how to be, you know, how to be on stage, how to be comfortable on stage, how to outline a paper, how to form a hypothesis, how to be on a volleyball team during a rebuilding season, in one game, and of course, you know, the most important thing I learned here is how to be ignored by women, which I've taken that into the real world. Despite what Scott said, I was not a great student academically speaking. I mean, I was very drawn to drama, and from middle school on, I got very invested in drama. Anything creative, I was always drawn to, and Miss Edwards was at the helm at the time, and I sort of grew up in the Black Theater here, which if you go outside of Kinkaid has, people are like, oh, really? I didn't know that. Well, it's a theater in our school. But early on in high school, when I was a freshman, a new teacher arrived. He was from a prestigious drama program, conservatory. He was talented, he was personable, he was energetic. Maybe too energetic, I don't know. I'm talking, of course, about Mr. Scott Lambert. In Mr. Lambert, I found a great teacher, and a great supporter, a mentor, a friend. And it's because of him, really, that I feel like, I'm here today, because he helped change my life. Under Mr. Lambert's coaching, the Kinkaid drama team quickly won numerous state and national titles, which actually brought, a picture with me today of after I won nationals. If you ever wonder what the Indianapolis Convention Center looks like, there's a peek inside. When you win a nationals, they want you to have the sense that you just got off the plane in Honolulu, apparently. Anyway, so then my senior year, Mr. Lambert sat me down and he said the dreaded words that is every parent's nightmare. I think you have what it takes to be a professional actor. And that's how my career started. Right here. Now, I don't have time to share with you all the humiliations that got me from here to there, but I'll share a quick few. From Kinkaid, I went on to Carnegie Mellon, as Mr. Lambert mentioned. There I took classes like acting, speech, movement, stage combat. So if anyone wants to start something later, I can pretend to beat you up. 4 years later, I graduated, and I was ready to be a professional waiter, which I delivered on. After college, I moved back and forth between Los Angeles and New York. I kind of couldn't decide where I wanted to be. I'd gone to school for theater. And after, I think, a particularly humiliating audition, I sort of had to sit down with myself and say, what am I doing? What are my goals here? Because am I sort of on the path to where I want to be in 10 years? Where do I want to be? What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? And so I kind of had to assess, I want to be doing comedy, and I want to be doing I want to have a better quality of life. I don't really like living in New York, and I decided to sort of uproot my life and move to LA pretty quickly. But I mentioned that because in our lives we all come to a crossroads at some point, and that was a crossroads for me. But it could be what college you go to, or what major do you take, or what job you take, or what city do you move to. But it's, in my experience, I found you have to sort of assess, what you're good at and recognize it and what you want, and are you on the path to be there. And so that's what I decided to do, and I moved out to LA, and I put my Kinkaid education to work in a valet park. I catered, I babysat, and of course waited tables. I've waited tables at 3 restaurants with ranch in the title: Wood Ranch, Rio Ranch, Saddle Ranch. I could basically work on a ranch at this point. I believe. All while I was auditioning, and soon after I was auditioning, I kind of came to realize, and this applies to when I pitch TV shows. I had done this before. Going into an unwelcoming room filled with strangers, doing prepared material at some strange hour in the morning. That's what high school drama tournaments were, and I had gotten sort of my 10,000 hours of embarrassing myself. I'm probably getting a few more now. But that was training for my career. All the driving in a van, 15-seat passenger van across Texas, the red leather, yellow leather, lavender leathers, the Mr. Lambert wearing a hat with 2 bills that said, "I'm the leader, which way did they go?" I suffered through all of that. To prepare me for my career, which was, I feel like I had a head start in that way. Except now if I won, the trophy was a a guest spot on TV and maybe a makeout session with Michael C. Hall. You know, different jobs. But eventually I started booking steady work, and you know, I got to quit my job on the ranch. And my first steady acting gig was in a show called The Mullets. Hold your applause. My first piece of publicity, we were in TV Guide, and TV Guide for the young people is a popular magazine. A magazine is, it's like an iPad, but it's softer. Okay, never mind. Just Google it. So, we had this piece of publicity, and it talked about what shows were good and what shows were bad in the upcoming fall season. Ours was not considered to be good, which happens. But in the article, it listed many shows, but in the article, in the middle of the columns, it had a graphic, two heads. One had Charlie Sheen's head, and one had Rob Lowe's head. And it had Sheen and Lowe, and there was an arrow pointing up, because they had shows that were looking good. And then there was a down arrow, and that I brought for you here, and that's me at the bottom. Just says Hornsby. Welcome to Showbiz. So, I keep a copy of this in my office framed because, I feel like you really have to be able to learn to laugh at yourself, certainly in this profession. But, if you put yourself out there, you're going to get criticized and you're going to get praised, and you kind of have to hold both at equal value. So, to me, this is a good example of that. But eventually, I got bored of just sort of waiting around to be cast, and I came up with an idea with some friends. We had an idea that we liked, so I said, well, why don't we do it? So I wrote some scenes, and we got together, we improv'd, and we had some talented actors. I think at the time Kristen Wiig was before she was even sort of on SNL, and she did it with me, and we cut together this. I cut together this little thing on my computer and gave it to an agent, and then I got an agent from that, and then sold it to Fox, and they commissioned a script, and next thing you know, I'm a writer. Now, I mentioned that because I was remembering at the time that when I was at Carnegie Mellon, we had an alumni who was a very successful agent who came by, and they made the point, and it was something that I remember, and it stuck with me to this day, which is, they described that sometimes they're actors, that she represented big names. Tom Cruise, Val Kilmer, all these people. And she said, sometimes they just do whatever it takes to get the part. They'll make a tape, they'll do whatever. There are no rules, guys. There's no right way. You just go after what you want. So I thought, well, why don't I just make this tape and, see if anything comes of it. And that tape sort of changed the trajectory of my career. And whether it was going to be successful or not, it happened to be, but it was good advice, I think, to remember, to just go after what you want and see what comes of it. At least you swung for the fences. But I was a writer now and had to write a script, but I really didn't have any idea what I was doing. Act break, story, character development. We had to write an outline for the script, and the only outline I remember was in Miss Cooney's class in 6th grade. The only thing I remember from that was I was terrified of her. She was a great teacher, but so I did it, and I worked hard, and I faked it, and that project, like projects do, come and go, and that went away. And my friends had done the same thing. They made a tape and they'd sold it, and got on TV, and so they said, hey, you wrote a script. You want to come write a script for our show? So again, didn't know what I was doing, but of course I said yes, and I wrote a script and I faked it, and worked hard and did it and learned from it. And then they had an opportunity to hire a staff of writers, and they said, hey, do you want to come write on the show? And I figured, well, I'm an actor, but, might as well. How long is the show going to go? Well, that show's Always Sunny, and we're now currently shooting our 11th season. So, I just feel like it's a reminder to me, sometimes you have to ride the horse in the direction it's going, even if it wasn't the direction you're planning on. And, the question is whether the horse is going to go where it's going to go. It's just whether you're going to get off or not. So I stayed on, and that changed, my life. And now I'm able to write and create shows and act on shows, and that's been so fulfilling. And now before I go, I did want to say one more thing as just something that I learned when I was in your position. Is you go to Kinkaid and you have all these obviously great facilities and opportunities, and that's just something I would urge everyone to utilize. Interim term was a really big advantage for me. Scott and I, I did a one-man show that I wrote and he helped me with, and that was a real, it's just a time to test out, to look at cultivate your passions. And I also did Northwestern Summer Theater Camp between my junior and senior year, as well as when I was in college, I did Williamstown Theater Festival. And these may not apply to you at all, but the point is that those summers helped, people that I met there, I still am friends with today. They've employed me. It was a chance to cultivate my passion and see if that was something I enjoyed. And I got to get outside of Kinkaid, and so that I would really employ you to do and to utilize that, because some summers I worked at a restaurant, and then one summer I went to Northwestern, and that was invaluable to me. So that's my story and my advice. I wanted to stand here and give you some kernels of wisdom, if I could, something that'll affect you, and you maybe look back and say, God bless David Hornsby. I'm going to send him $20. And I would take that $20 because I know that was an honorable thing to do. If you send me money, I'm going to take it. But the truth is, I don't know. None of us really know. We just do things to the best of our abilities. The difference between you and me is that I can grow a large amount of facial hair. Except there's a student I saw who has some, so he's probably got me beat. All you can control in life is going after what you want. Cultivating and pursuing your passion. And someday, if you're lucky, it could be you on the inside of the magazine with an arrow pointing down to his head. So thank you very much. Go Falcons.
Thank you very much. Rule number 37 in the Headmaster's Handbook is that when you follow a very funny, charismatic, professional actor, don't say much. So I will say this, Mr. Hornsby, we congratulate you. Thank you for your very funny and insightful remarks. Thank you. Also, please join me in again congratulating Mr. Worland and Ms. Lentz. And definitely Ashley Davis and Will Gaus. Congratulations.